Hi everyone, welcome to Colorado State University, our RamChat. Today we're going to talk about applying to CSU and what you need to know. My name is Jackson Schoaf-Bembry. I'm one of the admissions counselors here in the Office of Admissions at Colorado State, and I have a couple guests with me as well. We actually have our director here today. Melissa, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everybody, welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. My name is Melissa Trifiletti. I'm the Director of Admissions here. I've been here for about 6 months, and this is my very first RamChat.
All right. Hello everybody, welcome to RamChat tonight. My name is Blake Warner, and we are your Colorado State Admissions Ambassadors. I am a second-year student this year from Carmel, Indiana, studying construction management. And some of my campus involvements include fraternity and sorority life, and also Ram Welcome, which is our freshman orientation program.
Hi everyone, my name is Catherine Sims and I am from Littleton, Colorado. I am a second-year student here on campus. I'm a human development and family studies major, and I am also involved in fraternity and sorority life as well as the pre-occupational therapy club.
Awesome, thank you. So tonight, the way this is all going to go, I'm going to talk a lot about the technical stuff. How you apply, how you go through the application. Melissa is going to talk about the why behind what we do. What are we looking for, but also why are we asking for certain things? And then Catherine and Blake get to talk about what is the student experience? What were their experiences when they were applying? What were some tips and tricks to know and to look at? And it's also exciting tonight. We get to work with all of our screen shares. So we're going to actually walk through the actual application. So I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and get things started. All right, to begin, this is what a lot of you are going to see on our main page if you go to admissions.colostate.edu, right up here. When you get to this website and you're thinking about applying and getting ready to apply, we want you to click on this button right here that says Apply. When you click on that, it's going to bring you to this page and you'll see some people walking through the trees, and then also it'll say take the first step today, and that's learn how to apply. We want you to go ahead and click on that. Once you do that, it's going to bring you to this page right here. And it's going to talk about all the different types of students who may be applying to CSU. Know that today we are going to focus on freshmen and first-year students. Know that we will have a RamChat that is geared towards transfer students, and also know that we will have one for international students as well. If any of you fall into any of those categories, feel free to ask any questions you might have today, and we'll do our best to get those answered. But again, we're going to be focusing on freshmen and first-year students. So once you're getting ready, again, you want to click on More Information. That's going to bring you to this page right here that says, again, Future Freshmen, First-Year Students, and we want you to click on Freshman Application Guide. That's going to take you here, and it's going to talk about everything that all of you need to know. All of the timelines, all of the deadlines. It's going to talk about the application process. It's going to talk about our standards, transcripts, everything that you are going to want. But the other thing that's really important for you all to understand is that at CSU, we have a couple different options for you all. We know that a lot of people are familiar with the Common application. It's an application used by a lot of different schools, an easy way to apply to a bunch of different universities via one application. And then we also have our own application, which is the CSU or Colorado State University application. Now, this is the one that we are going to focus on, the CSU app, but again, if you have questions about the Common App, feel free to ask those. When you click there, it's going to bring you into this page, and it talks about applying to CSU. Know that it's going to ask you to log in. You're going to create a login, an account name, and this is one way that you can keep track of how your application is going. Once you've logged in, it's going to bring up this application down here. you can click that. And so since we've already started one for us, know that when you get ready to start your application, this is where this is what you're first going to see. It's going to say either freshman early application, freshman transfer, second bachelor, postgraduate, all of these. So you're going to click the one that is going to be most pertinent to you. For a lot of you that are first-year students, meaning you're getting ready to graduate high school, know that 2015 freshman is a good one. For any of you know that who may know that you want to apply before our December 1st early action deadline, you definitely can click on this one as well. Once you click that, this is what you're going to see. This is the application. It starts off by giving you some instructions of how to fill everything out. It's going to talk about if you have questions, definitely you can contact our office. This is our phone number, and then also our admissions email address. But the number one thing that we want all of you to understand is that you all have admissions counselors who are more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. So absolutely reach out to your counselor in the area, and they can be found on our main website. Once you're getting ready to go ahead and start off with the application, we want you to start with application materials. So notice all of the things that we need. This is for, again, first-year students. We want an official high school transcript. We're going to want your ACT or SAT results. We don't care which ones. Take both, take one, take the other. It doesn't matter to us, but we want all the scores from you. Then you're going to send us an essay, commonly referred to as a personal statement. They're going to be one in the same. We require one letter of recommendation. Most students tend to send in between 1 and 3. If you want to send in 10, definitely go ahead, but 1 to 3 is kind of a good guideline. For international students, TOEFL, IELTS, those are other things we want you to pay attention to. And then this is a big one. Notice our application deadlines. For early action, December 1st is going to be our deadline. If you apply by December 1st, we will give you an answer by February 1st. Okay? Also know that our early action is non-binding, meaning if you apply to CSU by December 1st, you can still apply to all the other universities that you would like to. It's just kind of nice to know that you have that decision in your back pocket. For regular decision, February 1st is going to be that deadline. If you apply by then, March 15th is going to be when you will hear back from us. Know that we are doing our best to move through applications as quickly as possible, but we like to know that definitely by these dates is when you'll get your information. For those of you that are applying for the spring deadline, November 1st, so coming up here pretty quickly, is the deadline, and know that we will be releasing those decisions. In fact, we are releasing them right now, and most of you should have them by December 1st. Most of you will have them by December 1st. For any of you getting ready to apply for summer, that deadline is May 1st, and we do all of those on a rolling basis. So hopefully that gives you a look at when your deadline is, and something to definitely keep in mind and pay attention to as you go through this process. So the first section that you're going to click on, and it's pretty easy. When y'all get ready to apply, all of these tabs, all you have to do is just go right down the line and click on them. So to start off with personal, it's pretty straightforward, pretty self-explanatory. We want you to list your first name, and that is your given name. Feel free to list your middle name, last name, and then of course your preferred name. That helps us kind of understand what you would prefer to be called in any emails or conversations we might have with you. Next, we want you to talk about everything that is going to be your street address, where you live. Again, pretty self-explanatory. We want your current email, mobile, and then also any phone number you might want to put down for that. And then one thing that's very important for us is making sure that you put down the correct date of birth. I know oftentimes when students go through this, it's pretty easy to put you know, your birthday, which might be October 10th, but then sometimes students will accidentally put the year that we're in right now. So definitely be sure to put down the year that you were born in, birth city, and all of that. And then of course citizenship information is here, and then down at the bottom we have all of these tabs as well. Pretty self-explanatory. Be sure to take your time as you go through them. The next tab is going to be family information. With family information, it's going to be asking your parent education, and so for your parents you want to list, keep in mind it is the highest level completed, not the highest level attempted. So we want to make sure that you're putting whatever level your parents have completed. Any other information, again, just follow through. It should be pretty self-explanatory. Once you get into programs, there are a couple things here that we want you all to pay attention to. At Colorado State University, we have 72 different majors and 250 plus programs, and we're always adding new programs and always bringing in different ones. And so definitely know that if you're coming in and you're not 100% sure what you want to do, we do have at the bottom here undeclared. And it is perfectly okay to come in undeclared exploring and just have some time to figure out exactly what it is that you want to study. Now, if you know for sure that you want to be in liberal arts, definitely go ahead and click that. For any of you that know that you're very interested in any of our pre-professional programs, if you know that you want to go to grad school, go to a professional school, a law school, go to a medical school, that is where we have our pre-professional programs. And so you can go ahead and click any of those that might be of interest to you. Other things to think about is that at our university, we have a couple majors that are going to be what we call competitive majors. Some examples of those would be our business school and our engineering school. While we have our own requirements to be admitted to the university, they have their own requirements to be admitted to their programs. Meaning, you may be admitted to Colorado State University, but you may not necessarily be admitted to our engineering program. If you are not admitted to the program, you will be put in what is called one of our undeclared majors, focusing on engineering, focusing on business, all of those. And if you have questions, again, feel free to contact your admissions counselor. One thing that often trips up students is entry term. For any of you that are graduating here in May, so for any of you that are seniors now getting ready to graduate in May, your term of entry will be fall 2015. Even though August technically is in summer, you are still starting fall 2015, okay? The next program that we want to touch on is going to be education. All of you have an opportunity on here to put in whatever high school or high schools that you have attended. Notice that when you do put in your high school, this is what you're going to see. You can always look up your high school by SEEB code, but then also down here, you may be a little bit confused with this one. It says major. In high school, most of you probably did not have a major. You can leave this blank if you are a high school student. This is geared only towards transfer students who may have had a major. For any of you that are coming in, if you don't know what your GPA and class rank is, that's okay. You're welcome to leave it blank. We will get all of that information from your transcript, but if you do know it, it definitely helps us out if you can put that information in there. Again, know that any other schools, any coursework that you've completed, we want you to fill this information out as well. If any of you are going through the GED process, we have all of that information down here. Next, we have high school coursework. Right here, this is going to be a couple things we want you to pay attention to. Oftentimes, we use the term unit. Know that a unit equals 1 year. Other things that we're going to look for, this is all going to be self-reported. Again, we will see this on your transcript, but be as accurate as you can. These are going to be the requirements that we, the recommended high school units that we look for when it comes to students coming in. For instance, 4 years of English, 3 units or 3 years of math, 4 units of math, Algebra 1 or higher. All of these, again, pretty self-explanatory. Just click yes or no on those. And next is going to be residency. This is pretty straightforward. If you are a Colorado resident, you are going to click yes. If you are not a Colorado resident, click no. If you do not know what your residency is, know that we have a great comprehensive list up here that talks about residency classifications. We know it can be tricky, so definitely go through that. If you have questions, contact us, but for this area, we want you to click yes or no for Colorado residency. This is kind of getting into the meat of the application. This is one thing that a lot of students spend quite a bit of time on, and we want you to spend time on this. We also want you to make sure that you have somebody proofread this, but the things that you need to know with the essay are we have these prompts here and suggested topics, but you're welcome to talk about whatever you might like in our application. In the Common App, they do have their own prompts that they're going to ask you to talk about. One thing that we also want to mention is we have what is called an academic explanation. Under this academic explanation, one of the most important things is if you have any D or F grades, you have to talk about it. In order for this whole holistic review process to work, we need a little bit of context. And if you have those D grades, whether it's in a math class or whether it's in a PE class, giving us that context and explaining how that grade came to be is going to be extremely beneficial. So please, please, please talk about that. To go into the essay a little bit more, know that we're only asking for about 400 to 500 words, and that's your time to really talk to us about who you are. Some things that I might recommend talking about. Talk about why you want to come to CSU. Talk about maybe an experience that you've had that might prepare you to come to Colorado State. If you had something tough in your life that maybe you've learned a great lesson from, absolutely share that. But know that this is your time to give us an in-depth look at who you are. Catherine, Blake, do y'all have anything else that you might?
Yeah, so like Jackson said, this is a time for you to really just talk about yourself and explain maybe some interesting experiences that you've had during your life. I personally, in my essay, talked about how I've moved multiple times throughout my life and how that has shaped me as a person. And it just was me telling about my different experiences in different locations that I lived and how I've came to Colorado State University and how I decided that that would be the best choice for me in my essay.
Right, definitely. And honestly, I actually don't even remember what I wrote in my essay. It really hasn't been that long, but it's just an essay. Just be you. Tell us what you're interested in. Say some passions that you have. Just really allow yourself to really market yourself towards the admissions team. Really let them know what you're all about, and just state your passions. So, great.
If I could jump in, I'd like to add, please pay attention to how well it's written. Grammatical errors definitely are something that you want to avoid. So make sure while you're telling us the interesting aspects of your life or who you are and how you're going to contribute to our community, please make sure that you're putting into place all that you learned in school in your English and your writing courses, and make sure that comes through as well.
Excellent, thank you. One other thing that I'd like to add, as I'm one of the counselors who gets to read through all of the wonderful applications and essays that you send in, know that the essay portion is not necessarily a time to maybe list all of the really cool things that you've done. We have an activity sheet for that that's perfect for that. This is going to be something that's a little bit more in depth. One thing I wanted to circle back to, we had a question about averages, and in terms of what are the criteria that we look for in terms of what test scores, what GPA, those types of things. And last year, the middle 50% for students coming into Colorado State, our average GPA on a 4.0 scale was a 3.3 to a 4.0 GPA. On the ACT, it was a 23 to a 28, and on the SAT, it was a 1050 to a 1250. Keep in mind that is only the middle 50%. Also keep in mind on the SAT, it's only critical reading and math that we look at. Now for all of you that are looking for that kind of information, we really want you to go to our website and be sure to click on Connect to Colorado State and then ask for more information. That way we can send you all of our updated materials so that you can have these things right at your fingertips, okay? Great information about the essays. Definitely contact your admissions representatives, ask your teachers, ask your counselors. All of them are going to be great resources to help you all when it comes to filling out these essays. I briefly touched on it in terms of the ACT and the SAT. The big thing that we want you all to understand is that we don't care which one. Any of them, send everything you have. We do not super score, meaning if you take the ACT 10 times, we're not going to take the best numbers and combine them for one composite. We're going to take your single best sitting. All right, but still we want you to send in everything that you have so that we can see kind of how you're growing, how you're improving. All of that helps us out. Know that for any of you that have AP scores, IB type classes, those are always more than welcome to send in too. When you're sending that stuff in, you can contact, a lot of you probably when you took your ACT or SAT, there was an opportunity to list schools that you wanted to have these tests sent off to. If you picked Colorado State University, we probably will be receiving those. As you're getting ready to apply, if for some reason we do not receive those, know that you can always contact them and have them sent directly to us. That's going to be typically the easiest way to have those scores sent in. I mentioned that the essay is not necessarily a time to talk about the things that you've done, the really cool activities that you're involved with, because that's why we have this activities work section. With this, some tips about it are know that we look for things like consistency. We look for things that show that you have been involved at a higher level. So for instance, I would rather see that you were the president of a club that you were in all 4 years than maybe that your senior year you were involved in 10 different clubs. We want to see that consistency. Things that maybe aren't too good to put on there. If 1 week during your sophomore year you walked your neighbor's dog, that might not be the best thing to put on there. Now, if you have been involved in Eagle Scouts, Girl Scouts, if you're a four-sport athlete, if you have done really anything and everything, we want you to add that stuff in. It only helps to build on your application, but also know that it's not a make or break. If you haven't been as involved, know that we're not going to hold that against you. We look at every student in the context of you, where you're coming from, and your experiences. And so know that if you're not volunteering everywhere, if you're not in a sport, if you're not in a club, that's completely okay too. We have so many students that make up this population, and they come from all walks of life. The next thing that we're going to talk about are letters of recommendation. Every year I read letters of recommendation, and know that when it comes to letters of rec, a couple things you want to pay attention to. Number one, if you're only going to send in one letter, because we do require one, we prefer it to be an academic source, meaning a teacher, a counselor, an advisor, somebody who can speak to your academic performance. Know that if you're going into the sciences, maybe a science teacher is a good idea. If you're going into the arts, maybe an art teacher is a good idea. We really want you to think about who is writing these letters for you. After you have that academic, be sure that you're more than welcome to add in any coaches, any bosses, any of those things are welcome to come in as well. Other things to think about for a lot of you, your senior class may include between 100 and 500 students. That means that between 100 and 500 other people are asking for letters of recommendation. This is kind of the one thing under all of the things that we need from all of you that is not under your control. Okay, your teachers are very, very busy people. So definitely make sure that you ask for these letters as quickly as possible. Your teachers are going to typically send in that letter directly to us. We're going to be emailing them saying that they've been asked to write this letter for us. If for some reason they do not receive that email, know that they're always more than welcome to email them directly to your counselor at Colorado State. Just definitely we want your name, we want your date of birth as well. Next, under student conduct, we want you all to be sure to review all of this. This just talks about things that may have happened in your high school experiences. We just want you to be very truthful with these. Pretty self-explanatory, so again, please review that, click what applies to you, and move forward. And then finally we have the honor code. This is something that's very important to us because it speaks to the type of students that we have at our university, and by signing this, you are pledging to uphold all of the criteria and all of the systems that we expect on our campus, and also know that this is a way for you to say that you answered this truthfully. And we hope that you all take this seriously, and so please be sure to sign that and then send away, and then right here, review and submit. So once you have completed everything, it is going to tell you exactly what you have completed, and the great thing is you can come back to it. You can continue, you can move on, you can go back, and it's an easy way for you to, again, keep track of where you're at. If you don't have information right off the bat, you can always come back to it. When you're getting ready to submit, all you're going to do is go down here and there's going to be a submit button, and you'll be able to go ahead and click that. And that's really the application in a nutshell. I know that we went through that pretty quickly, but we just wanted to give you all a quick opportunity to look through the application and to kind of get your feet wet a little bit. So now you know what it looks like, so that when you go in there, you're prepared to start clicking on everything. And again, any and all questions, please contact your admissions counselor that can be found on our admissions page. Please feel free to just email Colorado State in general. Please feel free to call our admissions website. We love taking questions, and we want to help you all through this process. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and pass this off to Melissa, but know that after Melissa speaks and after Catherine and Blake speak, we're going to get to some of the questions that we have. So Melissa, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Jackson. You did a great job of walking through there, that application. I hope that was really helpful for everyone to see what it looks like in our system and to walk through all the different steps. My job right now is to talk to you about the why. Why do we ask what we're asking? And we do at Colorado State what's called holistic review. And that's why we ask all of the questions that we ask. We're trying to get a picture of who you are, why you'd like to come to Colorado State, and also how are you performing academically. One of the great things about Colorado State is it's an incredible, excellent research, comprehensive research institution, and we're with a land grant mission. And what that means to you all is that land grant universities were started back in 1862 with the passage of a bill, the Morrill Act, and what it did is provided access to education, to higher education, because a lot of people were shut out from higher education back then. So Colorado State was founded in 1870 and really here to provide an excellent education for you. And what we're trying to do is make sure that you're prepared and ready to enter into this incredibly excellent and rigorous academic curriculum that we have here for you. So that's what we're trying to glean from your application and in your test scores, how you did in your coursework. That's why we're wanting to understand if you've had a little bit of a blip in your academic record. Help us understand why that happened. What we're trying to do in this whole picture of understanding who you are is truly to make sure that you can be successful here. Our goal is that, bottom line. And anything that you can provide to us in that application to help us understand your motivation level and your preparation and how you're going to contribute to our community helps us in that decision. The other tip that I'll give you, and Jackson mentioned this throughout his conversation with you, is engaging your admission counselor, because they're actually reading your application, and they can speak to things that perhaps aren't in your application because you're getting to know them. So take advantage of those staff who really do want to help you make it possible to get to Colorado State. Thanks, Jackson.
Awesome. Thank you, Melissa. Next, we're going to go ahead and have two of our students speak with you all, kind of about their experiences going through this process and things that might be helpful for all of you to know. So, Blake, Catherine, take it away.
All right, thanks, Jackson. So I'm just going to go ahead and go into my admissions process, getting into college as a whole. So again, I am from out of state. I'm from Indiana. So I applied to multiple schools, both in Indiana and out of state. I applied to Indiana University, Purdue University in the state of Indiana, and then I also applied to 2 schools in Colorado. Obviously, I applied to Colorado State University, and I applied to Colorado Mesa University. And for myself, it was easier just actually filling out the school's specific application as opposed to filling out the common application. I just found that easier. It was more direct. But that being said, there was more deadlines to be aware of, and just have those in mind. So I had to be on top of my deadlines throughout my senior year as I was applying to these colleges. So my piece of advice to all you students out there is just really be on top of those deadlines. Make a schedule. Talk it over with your academic counselors at school. Set out a deadline, and be sure to make that schedule, because if you miss those dates, unfortunately, it can cause some serious repercussions. So just really be on top of those deadlines. But again, I found it easier to just apply directly to those schools. But again, if you have any other questions regarding the admissions process here at Colorado State, please feel free to reach out to your admissions counselor. They can help you with whatever it may be. And then again, if you have any questions about just application processes in general, just reach out to your whoever your counselor may be at school, and I'm sure they can help you set up a schedule or whatever you may need. So take it away, Catherine.
Well, a little bit different from Blake. I am an in-state student, and I went through the application process as well. Obviously, I'm here today, and I chose 3 schools to apply for. One of them, obviously, CSU, University of Oklahoma, and Western Washington University. So I was choosing between 3 different schools, 2 of them being out of state. And, you know, I was being that young, rebellious kid that's like, I want to get out and get away from my parents and all that stuff. But after going through the process, figuring out whether or not CSU was the right choice for me, in the end it was, and I'm here today. And I really found that going through and figuring out whether you do pros and cons list is a really great way to figure out if this is somewhere you want to apply. And like Blake said, setting deadlines is a really great thing. I personally did all of my applications over Thanksgiving break, and so I mean, you're not really doing anything except for stuffing your face with food, so why not do some applications while you're at it too?
Exactly.
So I chose CSU mainly because I felt a family connection here, and I just really love the environment and the students that are on campus here, and it's probably been one of the best decisions I've made so far.
Definitely. And going back to my story, I was fortunate enough to come check out CSU when I was a junior in high school. I was able to get a tour, which I now give tours, so that's really cool. But no, I immediately fell in love with the school and the campus. I felt an immediate sense of belonging to the community. Everybody was just so warm and welcoming, and just that ability to get out of state and find somewhere that really had that sense of community really showed a lot to me. And I'm confident that every day that I'm here, I've made the right decision, and it's going to continue to have positive benefits in my life. So, all right. Well, we'll go ahead and give it back over to you, Jackson.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. All of that information from the students, from Melissa, really helps to give you all a look at why students are applying to CSU, what we're looking for, and hopefully you all have a little bit better basis about what we're looking for. Some things to also know that I'd like to add on something Melissa said. Myself as a counselor and all of the counselors that we have here, I've been doing this for the last couple years. So all the questions that you all have, I've probably answered them before. All the questions that you didn't realize you had, I've probably answered those too. So don't be afraid to ask them. Keep them coming in. I'm going to go ahead and start with some of the questions that we have. Know that if for some reason we do not get to your question tonight, we will be sure to contact all of you and get those questions answered via email sometime this week or early next week. But to start off, I have a question here from Ellie, and it says, how early should I apply to be considered for scholarships? February 1st is going to be our deadline for all of our merit-based scholarships. Those are going to be our big scholarships in-state and out-of-state, and so definitely February 1st is that deadline y'all want to be sure to pay attention to. Applying early does not necessarily increase or decrease your chances to for scholarships, but it is, again, nice to know early, but we want you to make sure that February 1st is when you apply by if you want the best opportunity to receive scholarships. Anything you want to add, Melissa?
Just early in general for anything in this admission process is a good idea. So most applications open up around August 1st. So you can do it over Thanksgiving, just like Catherine said, but if you want to do it over Halloween, that's okay too.
Awesome, thank you. This next question comes from Nazi, and it says, is admit preference given to students who apply on the CSU app or the Common App? And the answer to that is we do not give any preference to either application. The reason why we accept both is because we understand that students have a whole lot of different reasons for applying via the Common App or via our Colorado State University application. So again, no preference. It's whatever is easier. Aaron asks, how do I get my application fee waived? And this brings up a great topic. For any of you that are, for all of you, when you apply, in order to have a completed application, as part of the steps, in order to have a completed app, you have to either pay our application fee, which is $50, or you have to have that application fee waiver. In order to get the application fee waived, we need you to contact your admissions representative, and they'll walk you through that process. Definitely know that we're very willing, if you contact us, to work with you to determine whether or not you will be eligible for one of those fee waivers. Melissa, anything you want to add?
The College Board has an application fee waiver, as well as NACAC, and your high school counselor can also help you with those forms. Those are forms that definitely, if you qualify and get those to us, we will waive your application fee.
Excellent. This next question comes from Karen. Karen asks, once ACT and SAT scores are requested, how does the timing work? Do all documents need to be received at the same time, or is it a rolling process? Karen, for us, send everything in whenever you can, meaning we'll receive those test scores as soon as they come in, and if your application isn't completed yet, that's completely okay. As soon as we get your application, our processors do an amazing job of connecting the application with the letters of recommendation, with the test scores. If you can send it all in at once, absolutely go ahead and do that, but know that if they're coming in at different times, it's not really going to be that big of a deal. Our next question, what is campus and Fort Collins like? This is from Courtney from New York, so I'm going to go ahead and have Blake and Caitlin, or I'm sorry, Blake and Catherine.
Great, that's a great question. So campus life here at CSU is really involved not only within our community on campus, but also in the Fort Collins community as a whole. So some of my campus involvements include fraternity and sorority life. So obviously I'm in fraternity. I do a lot of, there's a lot of community engagement activities on campus, especially right now during homecoming week. We've got a lot going on. We've got our big homecoming parade tomorrow, so we are all so excited for that. But no, there's always stuff going on campus. A lot of the students love to hang out in the rec center, get their exercise on, play some pickup basketball games. That's a personal favorite of mine. And there's also, if you're a sports inclined person, there's plenty of intramural sports opportunities going on. We've got basketball courts on campus. We've got just huge open green spaces for throwing the football around, throwing the frisbee around, doing whatever. But also, I really love to get off of campus and get engaged in the Fort Collins community as a whole. So just about a couple miles west of campus, we have Horsetooth Reservoir, which is absolutely beautiful. It's a little reservoir just right in the foothills of the mountains. It's actually just above our football stadium. So beautiful area. If you love to do some backpacking, some boating, some rock climbing, whatever outdoor activity it may be, you can find it at Horsetooth. There's also a bunch of beautiful hikes to do. So Horsetooth is one of my personal favorites about Fort Collins. But also, I'm sure Catherine could touch on this. Old Town is absolutely wonderful. Plenty of shopping opportunities, plenty of wonderful restaurants to check out. So those are just some of my experiences here with campus life. Catherine, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, Blake hit on a lot of really great opportunities that you can take a part in here on campus. I'm also part of fraternity and sorority life, so I am in a sorority, and we do have a lot of philanthropy opportunities. But aside from sorority life, there's a whole bunch of other things that you can get involved on. We have so many different clubs here on campus, over 550 clubs. And if there's not a club that you may not feel like, I don't really want to do that, you can start your own club. So there's clubs that are dedicated to people who want to go snowboarding and skiing. It's called our Snow Riders Clubs, and they take students up to the mountains. And we also have a Quidditch club, so if you want to go and do some Quidditch, that is all for students. And we also offer a lot of really fun things on campus that you don't even really have to go to. We have a fall concert every year, and so that's going to be really exciting. Our fall concert is tomorrow night, and we're really excited about that. We also offer, if you're into the music side of things, we have plays that go on, as you can go see our bands perform, as well as our choirs at our University Center for the Arts, if that's something you're interested in as well. And like Blake said, the Fort Collins community is really fun. There's a lot of great places down in Old Town. I love going down there and getting some good ice cream. That is a prime Friday night right there.
There you go.
But that's a lot of really fun things that you can do on campus and out of campus.
Yeah, so definitely a lot of ways to get involved, and not only within our community here, but within the Fort Collins community as well.
Yeah.
So.
Fantastic. One thing I will add is I'm from Fort Collins. I grew up here, and the number one thing that you all need to know is every year Fort Collins gets ranked as one of the best places to live in the entire country. So not only are you going to an amazing university, but it also so happens that there's this fantastic place right in your backyard. Everything that Blake and Catherine talked about, great outdoors, great places to eat. But the nice thing is, not only do we have the mountains, not only do we have 300+ days of sunshine, not only do we have outdoorsy activities, not only do we have a major city in Denver just 45 minutes away, we've got all of these things, but it really is the community. People here are extremely welcoming, very friendly, but the number one thing, come visit. You got to come check us out. You got to come tour campus. You got to come to one of our visit experiences. Come see for yourself why students love it. The next question we have is from Lola. Lola asks, how do you get into the honors program at CSU? Do you apply for it during the application process? The answer to that is yes. You apply to that. It's going to be a separate application. So when you're getting ready to apply to the honors program, the honors application will come up, and it will be something that you fill out. It has its own essay. They have their own requirements to it, but it's something that you'll complete as you are completing the Colorado State application. All right, our next question comes from Ellie and Michaela. So the first one is, can I apply now and then update my ACT or SAT scores in December. So really, for any of you that are getting ready to apply, if you know that you're going to be taking the test again, it is completely okay to apply to the university and then send us scores later. But what you will need to do is let one of your counselors know. It's important to do this because that way we can take those test scores into account. Know that it's the same way for scholarship consideration. So if you have new test scores that you want to send in, just let us know. Talk to your counselor, talk to the admissions office, let us know that you're going to be sending in those new scores, and that way we can update all of the information. So to review, yes, you can apply and then send in new scores once you get them, but you need to let one of your counselors know. All right. We have this question now from Stephanie. Stephanie says, are you going to be reviewing how to apply to the Common App as well? Stephanie, at this time, we're not going to go as in-depth about the Common App. Know that if you have specific questions, you're welcome to send those in. Talk to your admissions counselor. But the number one thing to know is they're actually very similar. It's going to ask a lot of very similar questions. The only main thing that's going to be different on it is that there's going to be an area in the Common App for supplemental questions. So Colorado State University has added their own questions to the Common App that you will need to answer. So for any schools that you're applying to, there will be, for the most part, supplemental questions that you will need to do. Okay. And we have a question from Abigail, and it says, are we notified of scholarships in our acceptance letter, or how do we find out about scholarships and what scholarships we might qualify for? So Abigail and everybody, the way that we notify students of scholarships, we have a couple different ways. First off, right now, you can go online to our website. You'll go to cost, and under that it has a list of scholarships. When you go to those scholarships, it's going to have some of our merit-based. Under our merit-based scholarships, it says you need to have this test score and this GPA. If you are a senior right now, you score in GPA, and if you meet those requirements, for the most part, that means you get that scholarship. All right? That's one way to know that you are eligible for a scholarship. The other thing is we do scholarships kind of on a rolling basis as soon as we get in your information, meaning anytime that we are going to be receiving FAFSA information, once we get in all of this stuff, we start sending out information about scholarships. Melissa, would you like to add in anything about scholarships?
Yeah, so to be specific, you'll receive your offer of admission first. What we'll do is we'll send you an email. You can log into your student application, or excuse me, your applicant status page to also see your offer of admission. And then about a week later, you should receive an admission packet. So there's the timing of the admission. A week after that admission packet hits your door, you can expect to receive a scholarship notification from us if you have been awarded a scholarship. Those are typically our merit-based scholarships, so the part that Jackson was referencing in terms of going out to the website and seeing if you're eligible for a scholarship. We'll get that notification out to you about a week after your admission packet arrives on your door. For the other ones that Jackson is referencing in terms of what you would qualify in terms of any grants or student loans, that'll actually come around March, mid-March, from Colorado State University, and we'll also send you notification. One of the things that I would really recommend that you do as you're determining where you're wanting to go to school is that you check your email frequently and actually open up the emails we send you, because we typically send you really important information the closer to summer gets. We really want you to know things that you need to do, and we'll be sending out messages to you about that. And also, you can log into the applicant status page and also see other things that you'll need to do to take your steps to enrollment. So please know that we will be communicating with you on these important matters. And one tip, add us on your address contact list in your email account so that it doesn't end up in your spam filter, because there is really important information, and sometimes we need you to take action, like accepting scholarship awards so you don't miss out on free money.
Awesome, thank you. One other thing I would add with scholarships, for all of you, this is kind of a life lesson. People that advocate for themselves generally are going to be more successful, meaning if you are really close to a scholarship and you have circumstances that might warrant an exception, please let us know. You have to talk about that stuff. The worst thing we can say is no. The best thing we could say is yes. So please, please, please advocate for yourselves. The next question I have comes from Jocelyn, and she says, what is the list of things I need to send in for my app? If you go to our main admissions website, again, admissions.colostate.edu, when you click on Apply, there is an area that has a list of everything that you need. Also, if you have any of our materials, know that we have this list as well. Those things that we need in order for you to have a completed application are going to include the application itself, Common App or Colorado State University's application, that $50 application fee, are your high school transcripts, again, official high school transcripts, ACT or SAT results, your personal statement, which is your essay, and then, of course, a letter of recommendation. All of those things we need in order for you to have a completed application. Jennifer asks, does being an undeclared student lower your chances of getting in? That is a fantastic question, Jennifer, and my answer is absolutely not. At Colorado State University, we are the land-grant institution. That means our whole premise, our whole goal, our whole mission is to be accessible. And knowing that, we know that a lot of students coming in have no idea. We know that a lot of you are just thinking about the college process, and so it's okay to come in undeclared. We want you to come in undeclared because ultimately we want you studying things that you're passionate about and that you love. So please do not hesitate to come in undeclared and take your time with that. We next have a question from Katie. Katie says, when can we expect to hear back about our apps for spring 2015? Melissa, would you like to answer this one?
Thanks. Yes, you should start to hear from us in the next week. So check your emails. You can also log on to your applicant status page to check your status. We are notifying you of the admission decision and any outstanding requirements that you may need to send us, but we'll also send you a letter in the mail as well. So look for these decisions to come out in the next week or so.
Excellent. Okay, so this next question we have is from Michaela, and Michaela asks, once you have an account on the CSU website, where do you go to log back in? So this could mean two different things. I'll cover both of them really quickly. If any of you are starting your application and maybe you haven't completed the application, know that all you'll do is go through the same process of clicking through applying to CSU. It's going to, at the bottom, say that you have a 2015 freshman application. You'll click on that, and it'll bring back up your, it'll have a login, and then you'll be able to bring back up your application. Now, once you have submitted an application, you will have access to what is called RamWeb. If you go to just our general Colorado State website, which is colostate.edu, if you type in RamWeb, it'll bring you to another login. At this point, hopefully you will have already created this login. When you go in there, you'll be able to review everything that you've turned in. It'll tell you when you've turned in your transcript, when we've received your ACT, SAT results, when we've received your essay. It's a great way to kind of keep in contact with how the application process is going. So again, that is RamWeb. All right, this next question. The app asks me for an essay about irregularities on my app. I don't feel like I have any. Should I leave it blank? This is from Ray. You know, Ray, kind of the general guideline for things that may not necessarily apply to you is the more candid you can be, the better. And this goes along the lines of any D, F grades. If you have any D grades, even if it's in a class like a study aid, we still want you to talk about it. The more context you can give us, the better. Any irregularities on your app, so any bad grades, any missing time in high school, whatever it might be, even if you're not sure, use that to talk about some positive things. Use that to tell us some amazing things. So you can say, while I may not have any irregularities, I know that I've been consistent, and I've been consistent in these ways. On top of going to class, I also held a job. I also held a sport. So anything else that you can add to your application, that will be beneficial. Nick asks, is it difficult to change majors after you have been admitted? Nick, for the most part, it's a fairly simple process of contacting your admissions counselor. So if through the process you say that you want to be a psychology major, and then you're admitted, and then you decide, I think I want to be a sociology major, all you'll do is contact the admissions office or your counselor, let us know that you would like to make that change. It's fairly simple. Now, where it gets a little tricky is if you want to change into a major that is competitive, meaning business, engineering. That is because, again, they have their own requirements. Now, if you meet those requirements, then again, it's a pretty simple process. We can go ahead and just make that change for you. So the overarching theme, contact your admissions counselor.
Right, and really quick, Nick, I think I can touch on this a little bit. So I actually came in to Colorado State as an ecosystem science and sustainability major within the School of Natural Resources, and towards the end of my freshman year last year, I actually ended up switching to the construction management program. And as Jackson said, it was a relatively simple process. All I had to do was get a hold of the construction management advisors, and they'll sit down with you. They'll enter all your information into the computer, and your major will be changed. However, as Jackson did say, some of the competitive programs are a little more difficult to get into, and the construction management program is one of those more competitive programs. So what happened with me is I started out in the pre-construction program, which I actually am still in this semester, and then towards the end of the semester, once I get all my requirements fulfilled, I'll be able to apply into the actual construction management program itself. So again, it's a very simple process, not too hard to change your major. So good question.
I also did change my major too, so don't think that it's something that is uncommon. So a lot of people come into school and no one really knows what we're doing here, and that's kind of what it is. You're here to learn what you want to do, and so don't think that it's a bad thing. Obviously, two of us here have already done it.
Exactly. So, all right, thanks.
You can do it. You can do it. Our next question comes from Anne. Anne says, when applying, do you apply to a specific college or to the university? When you're getting ready to apply, you apply to the university. And then by selecting a major, that will place you in a specific college of the university. So for instance, if you apply to business, you will be placed in the business college, assuming you meet all the requirements. So just know that the main things you need to focus on during your application are filling out the application, selecting your major. That's all you'll need to pay attention to. Our next question is from Erica. On the Common App, do we have to write a second essay in addition to the Common App essay? No and yes. So with the Common App, we have our own supplemental questions. So you will have to complete those, and one of the additional things that you will have to do is that academic explanation. So you will only have to do one essay or one personal statement, but we do have some additional questions, and there is that academic explanation piece. And the final question that we have for tonight. I don't know much about the admissions process. Where do I start? This is from Alex, and Alex is from Miami. Alex, I am your admissions counselor. that's where it starts. Ask your counselor. We've been doing this for the last few years, so again, we're here to help you out. We're here to make your lives easier. Go online to the admissions website. There's a place called Meet Your Rep. It gives you an opportunity to see who is your representative for the area. It starts with talking to them. Ask all the questions you have. We're here to help you out. And then the next thing that you want to do is start on that application. And then we want you to come visit. And then we want you to do everything that you can to get out here. Okay? Anything else that you all would like to add, Melissa, Blake, Catherine?
I think you got it.
Awesome. Finally, we just want to say again for being here and listening to us, and all of the questions that were sent in. Know that if we did not get to your question, we will be contacting all of you and getting those questions answered for you. Again, go to our website, contact your admissions counselor, call us, look for when we're going to be in your area. We're so excited about having all of you apply to the university. We can't wait for you to get ready to be a CSU Ram. This is homecoming. Look for our football team getting ready to play. And just know that we can't wait to have y'all on campus. And go Rams.
Go Rams.
Well, yeah.
Go Rams.
Go Rammies.
Number one. All right.